If you're over 60, your doctor has probably told you to avoid sugar, fat, and salt. But what about bread? This simple food we eat every day might actually have a bigger impact on your health than you think. Some types of bread can support your gut, protect your brain, and even lower your risk of diabetes. But others? They can unknowingly trigger inflammation, spike your blood sugar, and even increase your risk of heart disease. And here's the bad news. The harmful ones often come labeled as healthy, fitness, or even whole wheat. Today, we're talking about 4 types of bread that people over 60 should definitely eat, and 4 that they should avoid. But before we get into that, make sure to leave a comment telling us where you're watching from, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Alright, let's dive in. Bread you should eat. Number 1. Whole rye bread. That's right, not whole wheat, but whole rye. Whole rye bread is packed with fiber, has a low glycemic index, and is great for your gut. Why is this so important? As we age, our digestive system slows down, our gut health weakens, and our blood sugar spikes faster. But whole rye, because it's high in fiber, helps slow down digestion, keeps you feeling full longer, and balances blood sugar. Plus, the antioxidants like ferulic acid in it can even slow down cell aging. And most whole rye bread is made with sourdough, not yeast, which means it has probiotics, naturally boosting your immune system. But here's the catch. Many breads labeled rye may actually contain wheat. So, read the label. The first ingredient should say whole rye flour. Bread you should avoid. Number 1. White toast bread. Now, here's the most common mistake. Toast bread is soft, easy to chew, and lasts forever. But these perks come with a price. White flour has a high glycemic index. This means that when you eat it, your blood sugar shoots up quickly and then drops just as fast. These spikes and crashes increase your risk of diabetes and drain your energy fast. On top of that, most white toast breads contain sugar, palm oil, additives, and sometimes even milk powder. For someone over 60, that means extra strain on digestion and unnecessary calories. Toast bread may seem harmless, but in your body, it acts like low-quality carbs. Over time, it can lead to weight gain, insulin resistance, and even sluggish digestion. So, don't forget to subscribe to stay tuned for this series, because some healthy breads could be doing more harm than good. When you're walking down the aisles in the store, you often see words like whole wheat, diet, fiber-rich, and whole grain on bread labels. These labels usually make us feel good. We think, I made a healthy choice. But here's the truth. A lot of the bread labeled whole wheat today is actually nearly identical to white bread in terms of ingredients. And for people over 60, this could be one of the main silent triggers of ongoing health problems. As we age, our metabolism slows down, insulin sensitivity decreases, and our digestive system becomes less efficient. In this case, the type of bread you eat not only affects how long you feel full, but also impacts everything from your immune system to your bone health. But let's first fully uncover this hidden danger. What to avoid? Industrial whole wheat bread. You might see whole wheat on the packaging, but more often than not, that's just a marketing strategy. Here's what's really going on. Refined white flour is mixed with some bran, and caramel coloring is added for a richer look. So, in terms of ingredients, it's still white bread. It rapidly spikes your blood sugar, doesn't keep you full for long, and the fiber content isn't enough to make a real impact. These breads are typically soft, durable, and have a long shelf life. That's because of the additives, glucose syrups, and refined oils they contain. But these additives put a strain on your digestive system, some damage gut flora, and can even trigger chronic inflammation. Some people think these breads are light and lose track of portion control. But if you're not careful, these breads turn into a trap, high in calories and low in fiber, which leads to sluggish digestion. So, while you might think, I'm eating whole wheat, I'm eating healthy, it's actually a hidden health threat disguised as a harmless breakfast. So what should you eat instead? What to eat? Real sourdough whole wheat bread. If you want bread that's both high in fiber and good for your digestive system, real sourdough whole wheat bread is the way to go. Whole wheat flour contains all parts of the wheat, bran, endosperm, and germ. This means it's high in fiber and has a balanced concentration of vitamins and minerals. But what really makes it effective is the fermentation process. In sourdough bread, the long fermentation process breaks down some of the compounds that are hard to digest. For example, phytic acid, which can block mineral absorption, is reduced during this process. This means the bread doesn't just keep you full. It helps your body absorb minerals like calcium, magnesium, and iron more effectively. The sourdough fermentation process also promotes the growth of gut-friendly bacteria. This can help relieve common digestive issues like constipation, bloating, or irregular digestion, especially for those over 60. Another important factor is the glycemic index. Sourdough whole wheat bread raises blood sugar much more slowly than white bread. This is a huge advantage for people dealing with insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, or energy drops. But be careful. Don't be fooled by labels like sourdough flavored. Real sourdough bread should only contain the following ingredients: whole wheat flour, water, salt, and sourdough starter. If you see additives, yeast powder, sugar, or preservatives on the label, it's an industrial version. Once you find the right product, eating 1 to 2 slices a day will keep you full longer and provide your gut with the daily fiber it needs. In conclusion, some breads you think are whole wheat are actually hidden sources of sugar and additives. For true health, choose simple breads with deep effects. Understanding this difference is one of the easiest steps to living a higher quality, balanced life as you age. In the next section, we'll explore sprouted grain breads, which are still little known in Turkey but are a game changer for your digestive system. And there's another hidden trap, a type of bread that's a breakfast staple but can trigger inflammation as we get older. There are some foods that don't get much attention. They don't sit in the spotlight in the store aisles. They're not heavily advertised. But their effect on the body is like a quiet revolution. Just like the bread we're talking about today, bread made from sprouted grains. If you're over 60, you're probably familiar with issues like bloating, irregular bowel movements, digestive discomfort, constant hunger. All of these can be caused by the natural decline in stomach acid, a slowing digestive system, and changes in the microbiota as we age. But breaking this chain is possible, and sometimes the solution is hidden in a simple slice of bread. What to eat? Sprouted grain bread first. Let's clarify. What is sprouted grain? Grains like wheat, barley, and oats are soaked and allowed to sprout in the right conditions. Basically, the potential for life within the seed is activated. This process not only increases the nutritional value of the grain, but also makes it easier to digest, reduces anti-nutrients, like phytic acid, and boosts its vitamin and mineral content. Some key benefits of bread made from sprouted grains are: it's high in fiber. This supports bowel movements and helps combat constipation. For people over 60, especially those dealing with sluggish digestion due to inactivity or medication, this is a huge benefit. It has a low glycemic index. This means your blood sugar doesn't spike quickly and energy is distributed more evenly. It's perfect for those with type 2 diabetes or insulin resistance. The protein is more bioavailable. Thanks to the sprouting process, the protein in the grains becomes more digestible. This is especially valuable for older adults who are at risk of muscle loss. It has higher levels of magnesium, B vitamins, zinc, and iron. These minerals are critical for bone health, immune function, and the nervous system, especially in later years. This bread tends to be dense and nourishing. It might have a more earthy taste, but it keeps you full, is gentle on your stomach, and helps your digestive system work efficiently. Plus, it doesn't contain additives. It's usually made with just these ingredients: sprouted whole grains, water, salt, and natural yeast. So what common habits silently harm our health in comparison? What to avoid? Croissants and other fatty pastries looking into the bakery window before breakfast. Picking up a fresh, warm, puffed-up croissant. For many, it's a delightful habit. But as we age, these kinds of pastries start to take a toll on the body, without us even noticing. Croissants, pastries, and other similar baked goods are typically made with refined white flour. But that's not the real issue. These pastries are often loaded with trans fats, margarine, and a high amount of saturated fats. Here's what that means. They put extra stress on the liver. They negatively affect cholesterol levels. They trigger arterial stiffness and inflammation. They cause blood sugar spikes and crashes, disrupting energy balance. Especially in the morning, eating these kinds of pastries can lead to more fatigue, dizziness, or sudden hunger later in the day. Pastries like croissants often seem harmless, but their hidden fats and low fiber content make them some of the hardest and most harmful foods to digest in later life. If you must have a pastry for breakfast, it's a much better choice to replace it with a slice of sprouted grain, whole grain, or sourdough bread. A simple plate with boiled eggs, some low-salt cheese, and olives could even provide more satisfaction than a croissant, all without upsetting your stomach. Remember, as we age, our digestive system seeks not just filling, but nourishing foods. Sprouted grain bread quietly but effectively provides you with this support. In the next section, we'll dive into one of the biggest debates. Are gluten-free breads really necessary? Are they for everyone? Or are they just a trend? And we'll also talk about another type of white-looking bread that causes problems for more people than you might think, but is still widely consumed. In recent years, one of the most eye-catching products on store shelves has been gluten-free labeled foods. Gluten-free pasta, gluten-free cookies, gluten-free flour, and of course, gluten-free bread. But are these products necessary for everyone? Are they really healthy, or just a marketing trend? And more importantly, while some people are turning to gluten-free bread, there are still certain white breads that are consumed every day, which can quietly but seriously harm the body in old age. In this section, we'll clear up the gluten-free bread issue and talk about one type of bread that's commonly found on tables but can pose serious risks to your gut and vascular health. What to eat, but not for everyone. Gluten-free whole grain bread. First, let's clarify. Gluten is a natural protein found in wheat, barley, and rye. It gives dough elasticity and helps it rise. But for some people, gluten causes serious digestive issues. Especially for those with celiac disease, gluten triggers the immune system to attack the intestines. Similarly, those with gluten sensitivity can experience bloating, gas, fatigue, and digestive problems. If you think you might have these symptoms, it's important to get tested by a professional, because blindly switching to gluten-free products can sometimes lead to other nutritional deficiencies. However, if diagnosed, properly formulated gluten-free breads can be very beneficial. Gluten-free breads made from whole grains like buckwheat, quinoa, brown rice flour, and oat flour are rich in fiber and support digestion, help keep blood sugar balanced, are strong in vitamins and minerals, don't harm gut flora. So, just because a bread is labeled gluten-free doesn't automatically make it healthy. It's crucial that it's made from whole grains and is free from additives. But should everyone eat gluten-free bread? No. For those without gluten sensitivity or celiac disease, some commercial gluten-free products can be low in fiber and protein. Additionally, these breads are sometimes enriched with starches, fats, and sugars to improve flavor. This can cause blood sugar spikes and reduce the feeling of fullness. In short, gluten-free bread should only be chosen if it's truly needed, not just because it's trendy. Now, let's move on to the real danger. Many people still eat thin, light, and fat-free breads every day, but behind the scenes, health problems are quietly building up. What to avoid? White lavash and wrap breads. Lavash, wraps, and pita-style white breads. They don't take up much space on the plate, they're thin, and they're easy to roll up. Many people think they're healthy because they don't look oily or processed. But this is a big misconception. Most of these types of bread are made from refined white flour. They have almost no fiber. When white flour is digested, it quickly turns into glucose, which means it spikes blood sugar levels. This can lead to the following risks as we age: insulin fluctuations, a sudden energy spike after eating, followed by a crash hunger cravings. Because they lack fiber, these breads make you hungry faster and create uncontrollable food cravings. Sluggish digestion. The lack of fiber leads to constipation and bloating, impaired calcium absorption. White flour foods typically create an acidic effect in the body also. These breads are often eaten heated, and combined with other ingredients, they can pose multiple health risks. Sometimes, these breads are wrapped with processed meats, salamis, sauces, and even fries. As a result, what seems like a light wrap could end up being a fast food-level meal in disguise. Furthermore, long-term consumption of this kind of bread can lead to weight gain and belly fat, the onset of type 2 diabetes, a weakened immune system, increased inflammation, which can contribute to arterial blockages. So, what should you do? If you enjoy lavash or wrap-style breads, make sure to choose versions made from whole grains, sprouted grains, or at least whole wheat flour. These types of bread provide more fiber and keep you full for longer. In conclusion, gluten-free bread isn't necessary for everyone, but it can be a lifesaver for some. On the other hand, white, Thin, seemingly harmless lavash can cause a lot more health problems than you might think. For people over 60, being more mindful of this can directly affect not just your energy today, but the quality of your health tomorrow. In the next section, we'll focus on more details like how bread is consumed, what it's eaten with, and at what time of the day. We'll also discuss another type of bread that should be avoided, especially in the evening, as it can harm your body throughout the night. For many of us, bread is not just food, it's a habit. Toast for breakfast, a sandwich for lunch, and then a warm loaf in the middle of the dinner table. But without realizing it, especially for people over 60, eating bread at the wrong time, even if it's the right kind, can cause serious, irreversible health damage. As we age, our digestion slows down. Every bite we eat in the evening turns from an energy source into a burden on the body. And some types of bread only increase this load. That's why in this section, we'll focus on the question, when should you eat bread? And we'll also talk about a type of bread you should absolutely avoid eating at night. What to eat? High fiber, whole grain breads in the first half of the day, the best time to eat bread. In the morning and early afternoon. In the morning, your metabolism is more active. Your digestive system is awake, and your blood sugar balance is more stable. Eating whole grain, sprouted, or sourdough bread during these hours will give you energy and keep you full for longer. Especially at breakfast, choosing high-fiber bread helps you. Avoid sudden hunger cravings, reduce your desire for sweets and snacks, balance blood sugar fluctuations, keep your digestive system active throughout the day. You can also enjoy bread at lunch, but portion control is key. A small slice of bread, paired with protein and vegetables, makes for a filling and balanced meal. But as for the evening, that's where things change. What to avoid? White bakery bread at night. White bakery bread, with its crispy crust, soft inside, and that childhood aroma. Many people still can't resist it at the table, reaching for just one more slice. But once you're over 60, especially in the evening, eating this kind of bread can put unexpected stress on the body. Why? High glycemic index. White bakery bread quickly turns into glucose. When you eat it in the evening, your blood sugar spikes, then crashes rapidly. This fluctuation can cause sleep disruptions, hot flashes, late-night hunger, digestive load. White bread is low in fiber. It digests quickly, but its impact is intense. Eating this kind of food late at night, when your digestive system is slowing down, can increase stomach acid, raise the risk of acid reflux, and cause undigested remnants to build up in your intestines. Risk of weight gain. Fast carbs eaten at night can't be burned off and are stored directly as fat. This especially leads to the accumulation of visceral fat around the abdomen. Muscle loss instead of fat gain. As we age, muscle mass decreases. The body tends to store fat instead of muscle. Empty carbs, like white bread, contribute to fat gain, not muscle growth. Also, white bakery bread is often consumed in excess. Its soft, thin texture makes it easy to unknowingly eat several slices at once. When combined with olives, cheese, or jam, a meal can easily exceed 600 to 700 calories without realizing it. So, if you're going to eat bread in the evening, it's better to choose a small slice of whole grain or sprouted bread, plenty of vegetables on the side, a plate balanced with light protein. But the healthiest choice is to eat bread earlier in the day, because the body burns it in the morning but stores it at night. Remember, bread doesn't just affect your body by its content, the timing also matters. When eaten at the right times, with the right ingredients, and in moderation, even the simplest food can support your health. But when eaten at the wrong time, with the wrong choice, it can unknowingly trigger many chronic processes. In the next section, we'll wrap up all this information. What kind of bread should you choose based on your age and health? And perhaps most importantly, should bread really be eliminated completely, or can it still have a place in our lives when managed properly? So far, we've talked about different types of bread, their ingredients, when to eat them, and which ones to avoid. But there's still a question on many people's minds. Should I stop eating bread altogether? There are plenty of bold statements online. Bread is poison. Stop eating bread and you'll lose weight. Cut out gluten and everything will get better. But real life isn't that black and white. Especially if you're over 60, it's not about strict bans. It's about making informed choices that lead to long-term health. In this final section, we'll summarize which bread to eat depending on your age, health condition, and lifestyle. General bread guide for people over 60 for those with high blood sugar/diabetes. Avoid white bread, lavash, toast bread, pastries, and ready-made sandwich breads. Prefer sprouted grain bread, sourdough whole wheat bread. Note: low glycemic index breads help balance insulin levels. They should be eaten in the morning, and portions should be small. For those with constipation and digestive issues, avoid all breads made with refined flour. Prefer high-fiber, naturally fermented breads, e.g., whole rye or whole grain sourdough. Note: drinking plenty of water and adding vegetables to your meals is recommended. For those with gluten sensitivity or celiac disease, avoid all products containing wheat, barley, and rye. Prefer gluten-free whole grain breads made from buckwheat, brown rice flour, or oats. Note: the gluten-free label isn't enough. Look for breads without additives and ensure they're made with whole grains. For those trying to control their weight, avoid buttery, margarine-laden, and sweetened pastries. Prefer breads with small portions of high-quality carbs, sprouted or whole grain, one slice. Note: what you spread on your bread is just as important as the bread itself. For those at risk of osteoporosis, avoid processed breads with phosphate additives. Prefer breads made with grains rich in magnesium and zinc. Note: the right grains in bread can help improve mineral absorption. Should you stop eating bread completely? No. When chosen wisely and eaten at the right times, bread can be part of a healthy lifestyle, even as we age. The issue isn't with bread itself, it's about its ingredients, portion size, when and how it's eaten. A slice of natural, fiber-rich bread at breakfast, with a boiled egg, some olives, greens, and a glass of water. That meal can protect you from illness. But if you eat the same bread at 11 p.m. with tea, jam, cheese, and salami, then that same slice becomes a burden on your body. So, the question isn't, is bread good or bad? The real question is, what bread am I eating, at what time, for what purpose, and with what? Your honest answer to this question is the key to aging healthily. Final thoughts. Bread is an essential part of our culture, but it's time to stop eating it out of habit and start eating it consciously. To make the best choices, you can rewatch all the sections and choose the bread that fits your lifestyle. If you found this information useful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You've seen how a simple slice of bread can change your life when chosen wisely. Now it's your turn. Which bread do you eat? We're waiting for your comments if you'd like to share. Because information gets better when shared.